You started it without me knowing.
Started what?
This episode.
Yeah, I just literally started it. Why? Have you changed something or tried to change something?
No, I just wasn't performing.
Oh, I mean, this technically isn't the show. I mean, it can be the show.
Welcome to another episode of Mildly Informed with me, Richie Firth, him, Chris Skinner. Our aim to perform and mildly inform you whilst doing so. Chris, how are you?
I'm all right. I really like it when you're performing, Rich. Like when you're not performing, you're like a solid 6 out of 10. When you're performing, you're an 8.5.
I knew it was going to be. I knew the second number was going to be something underwhelming. You know exactly what you're doing.
I'm sorry, yeah. I aspire to be an 8.5. You're like, you are punching so harder than I am.
Well, can I give you a compliment? For those who are watching this on our YouTube channel or some visualized version of this episode, your Republic of Ireland vintage football shirt is very much a 10 out of 10.
Thank you. I love this shirt with all my heart. It's one of my favourite shirts in the whole world.
It surprises me that on previous episodes we haven't yet spoken about football shirts. That's something to review down the line when that comes or the moment feels right.
Next record, should we surprise each other with a sports shirt?
Yes, great idea.
Okay, I'm in. Rich, on this show, we tend to interact as friends, trying to learn about each other by each of us taking turns reviewing stuff that's happened to us this week. Frankly, I and the audience don't care a toss really for us saying what we're going to do next week. What I want to hear is what you did in the last week.
This isn't something that I've done. It's something that I've observed, but it's been hard to observe it because I don't think that this concept is at the stature of what it once was. I want to talk about the political party conference.
Right.
You would be unaware that they've been going on over the last few weeks, but they have been. The party conference is not what it once was when we were younger, when we were growing up. When we were growing up, there were incidents like Neil Kinnock falling into the sea at Brighton because he was tripping up as he was walking backwards from the incoming tide. There was Tony Blair doing his conference speech and his shirt changing as the speech went on because he was sweating and sweating and sweating. There was John Prescott being labelled two Jags because his wife had to have a second Jaguar to take her from the hotel at Bournemouth down to the conference centre because she just had her hair done. And then even a few years back, there was dear old Theresa May doing her conference speech with all the set falling down behind her in the background. Back in the day, party conferences, just stuff happened. This last year, Liberals have done theirs, Labour done theirs, Conservative have done theirs. That's been the last 3 weeks of the political scene, and you could be forgiven for not knowing that anything has been going on whatsoever. What's happened to the knockabout party conference?
When we were kids and there weren't that many channels, particularly for Labour and the Tories, it basically took over the TV schedules. And I seem to remember it would just interrupt all your shows. If I remember correctly, kids' TV moved from BBC One to BBC Two because they couldn't interrupt a speech from like the Home Secretary. It was massive. And you got home from school, and as a child, you were irritated because you weren't to understand what was going on with party conferences. There's no CBBC. If you were off ill, there was no lunchtime episode of Neighbours because they had to go to the party conferences. Right. Okay. I think generally politics on the main channels outside of the news programs has been on the decline, even though we are quite obsessed with it, and people get their politics from other places. And that I think does represent that. I think there are fewer big personalities in politics as well now. But can I propose to you, Richie, that this does reflect very specifically 2025 in politics? So you got Labour, the governing party, they're so sad that they're in charge and can't do anything good right now. They're just so sad. We're the Labour Party and we're sad. The Conservatives, literally no one cares. Apparently, they've just got so many empty seats, so many empty stands. Reform, whatever you say about them, they're swivel-eyed loons. The Greens, anecdotally, they did that over a weekend. They literally, that's all they're able to do. And I actually completely missed the Lib Dem conference. Completely missed it. I'm guessing it's already happened. No one's got anything good to say. The only people who've got big things to say are absolutely mental. It's like there's nothing like going on. It's a quiet year. We've not got an election for a number of years. Frankly, no one gives a shit. Like, the only good person at the Labour Party conference who you'd have liked to hear talk on the main stage and gone, that'd be interesting, would have been Angela Rayner, temporarily persona non grata,
Yeah.
and Andy Burnham, who shat himself 2 days before the conference with some mad interview and then was persona non grata himself. So no one cares about anyone else anymore. It's like, I understand why they're not interrupting He-Man for it these days.
I do think that you can pinpoint where party conferences went downhill, and it's when they left the seaside. These days, party conferences are at big city centre conference centres. They're up at Manchester. They're up at Birmingham. There are these kind of locations. Back in the day, they were in Bournemouth. They were in Eastbourne. They were in Brighton. They were in Hastings. They were in Blackpool. They were down at the seaside. It was like an episode of EastEnders where they left Albert Square and all the normal characters went down to the seaside, and you suddenly got the chance to see how they'd act down by the slot machines and all that kind of stuff. They need to take the party conferences back to the seaside.
I'm feeling very self-conscious in this shirt from this era with you talking about Tory party conferences in Brighton. I feel this is maybe we should reverse this conversation.
Elephant in the room, but I didn't mention it. You did. That's awkward on you, not on me. I'm going to review party conferences and give them a star and move on from your choice of top, which admittedly you selected before you knew what I was going to talk about.
I honestly
party
didn't.
Conferences, 1-star review. Head back to the coast, guys.
I need to cry.
It's early doors for you crying, but it is an evening record. It always happens.
Yeah.
Chris, what's been on your mind this week?
We spoke about this last week, so let's get this over and done with. Last week, I reviewed the fact that I was coming to your hometown, but wasn't going to check in and say hello because I was doing a bike ride.
And you didn't check in and say hello, and I must hold my hands up at this early stage and say I didn't pop out and say hello either.
No, I cycled, waited outside your house actually for half an hour, was banging on the doors. I could see you looking through the curtains.
Well, you did well not to get blown away because it was a particularly windy Sunday morning when you decided to cycle around.
Rich, I'll get straight to the chase. I, for the first time ever, really started to question why I do these kinds of things. And for the first time in my life, I was like, this is awful. I'm having such a bad time. And so it was the end of Storm Amy. Is that right?
That's the one.
Storm Amy had swung in, and it had been much worse. If I'd ridden on Friday or Saturday, it'd have been like undoable, I feel. Sunday was slightly better, but it was still very, I think the winds according to my app were 25 to 30 kilometers an hour. And so going out was lovely. Going out was nice, and I was trying to hold energy. So I rode for 80 kilometers. And then just as I was sort of, on our way back, I all of a sudden heard ping. And I was like, what is going on? And I pulled up at the side of the road and I got off my bike, and one of the spokes had popped out of my rear wheel jammed itself in the rear cassette. And I was like, this is really bad. I'm like 50 miles from base, and bunch of people cycle past, like cyclists always do, and they're really nice and friendly. And they're like, "Can I help?" And I was like, "No, there's like literally no helping me. I'm done for." And I called the rag and bone man. I said, like, you got to come and pick me up, and and he's like, "Yeah, ping me your address." And then just some guy is staring at me. I'm like, "You all right, mate?" And he's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine, it's fine." And he goes, "No, I'm a cyclist. You all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, my bike's screwed. My ride's over." And he went, "Oh, I live here. I know what I'm doing. Do you want to just bring your bike over?" I'm like, "Okay." And I literally crossed the road. He literally lives where my bike has broken down.
Yeah.
And I wheel my bike in, take the rear wheel off. He pulls out this enormous toolkit, everything.
Wow.
So he gets the rear cassette off, which is quite a difficult job if you don't know what you're doing. Nice and even, nice and clean. We work the spoke, which somehow has lodged itself in there. We work it out, put it all back in. He sets me off. I'm on the road, and I'm like, I just can't thank you enough. Like, where did you come from? What were the chances of not only him living where this happened, but
Yeah.
him being there and seeing it happen and helping me?
Yeah.
It was so unlikely, and I shook his hand. I said, like, "Thank you so much. You've saved my day. You've saved my day." And I start riding back out to do the final 80 kilometers of the ride. And frankly, I wish he'd just kicked the shit out of my bike or me and just left me on the side of the road, because it was, I basically spent 80 kilometers. It took it took me an hour longer than I'd expected to do the ride.
Did you finish
Riding
last?
into the wind. Oh no, I finished in the middle somewhere, Rich. Come on.
Well, despite the fact that you'd had to have your bike taken apart and go into a stranger's house.
I was so pumped with adrenaline. I caught the people I'd been riding with in about an hour. Because I was just so like, ah. But then I obviously blew myself out. I was just so tired. It was such a hard. In the end, there was a group of strangers who all got together, and we were just taking it in turns, like following each other, drafting behind each other in a mini peloton, just to take the wind off of us for periods of time. And I just got to the end, and I tried to phone Laura. I couldn't even talk. I was just such a mess. I love cycling so much, Rich, but that ride was awful. Awful.
Have you cycled since?
Yeah, every day I've cycled to and from work. It's been all right.
And is the cassette and the spoke holding up?
Oh, different bike. I have my shitty about town bike and my fancy weekend bike. I haven't done anything about that bike. It's going to need money spending on it at some point.
My question to you is, what are you reviewing? Because if you're reviewing the ride as a whole, that's going to get 1 rating. But if you're reviewing the Good Samaritan of the Essex Hertfordshire borders, then that's a completely different thing. One is restoring faith in humanity, and one is a bad spare time hobby choice.
Can I review both?
Yes.
I give the ride 2 stars, and I only give it 2, not 1, because I finished. And it was a hard thing to do, and I should have some sense of pride in myself.
Yeah.
So it gets 2 stars. I give that man, and I really don't know, it probably should be a 5-star review. But because he made me then ride another 80 kilometers, I give him 0 stars.
Does he have a name?
No, if he did tell me, I can't remember. I was like, my brain was falling out my ears at the time. It was.
He saved your cycling life, and you didn't even ask his name.
I know. If I did, it wouldn't have gone in. It just honestly, your brain just goes to mush.
Wow. Incredible.
There you go. Should we have a break?
We're going to have to take a break. Well, I think we're all over the emotional low that was Chris's revelation. If you have comments on it, make them. You can email us mildlyinformedpod@gmail.com, or, of course, leave them in the comments on our YouTube video, or find us on our socials at Richie Firth or at Producer Chris.
I've got another bit of sort of exercise related chat, I think we'll put in the Patreon this week. When I say exercise related, that makes it sound like we're a pair of hooligans about to talk about being super bros. It's not that. Rich, tell me something about your week.
Chris, I was travelling, as I do, 5 days a week, to and from work, public transport, and I was on the London Underground. I normally use the Victoria line every single day, but there was one day over the last week where, as I was making my way in on the overground train and thought, right, let's just check the underground before I start to prepare to get off, I noticed that it said that the Victoria line had severe delays due to an operational incident at Walthamstow Central Station. I was like, that doesn't sound like much fun, so I'm going to carry on all the way into Liverpool Street and I'll get a different line into work. Fast forwards 5-6 hours later, it's coming towards the end of the live radio show that I do on Absolute Radio with Bush. And I thought, well, let's just check on the tubes just to make sure I'm all right getting home. I looked. Victoria Line, 6 hours on. Severe delays due to an operational incident at Walthamstow Central Station. And now I'm annoyed. I'm thinking, right, hang on, what's going on that has meant that 6 hours later, I still can't use the Victoria Line and I'm going to have to take a slightly longer route home. And I thought to myself, right, okay, well, what's an operational incident? Maybe there's a problem with the train. And then I thought to myself, well, no, if that's the case, they could have just said, because of a faulty train. And I thought, okay, well, maybe like one of the points can't change or something or other. And then I thought, well, no, because then they would have put due to a points failure. And I thought, oh, maybe the signals are broke or something or other. And I thought, well, no, because then that would say signalling problems.
Signal failure, yeah.
And I cannot to this day tell you what was wrong that day that meant it was called an operational incident. And I went down a bit of a wormhole because I thought to myself, just communicate with people. And I discovered that there is an organisation called the Plain English Campaign that have been campaigning since 1970s for plain English, getting rid of gobbledygook and jargon and misleading public information. So much so that they've actually got a biography on their website from King Charles himself. All right. How many people can have a testimonial from the King? He's so on board getting rid of all this gobbledygook. He's behind the Plain English Campaign. And I want to point them in the direction of TfL and their operational incidents. We need people to speak frankly and normally in life.
Okay. I get your point in that context, but I'm a big fan of euphemism generally. And I fear if you say we can't have euphemism in this context, then we can't have it in other contexts. And I'm sorry, how's your father? If we're saying we can no longer use that term because we must now speak in plain English, then, a million other phrases like that, then I think that would make us a lesser country.
I don't think that that's the same thing, and I'm going to argue with you here. I don't think
the plain English, nudge.
I don't think the Plain English Campaign have got any problem whatsoever with "How's your father?" Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. My point being here is the Victoria Line weren't saying problems at Walthamstow Central because of a little bit of "How's your father?" That would have been But my point is that's clear. If that was. If there was a 6-hour orgy going on the Victoria Line, I would have understood why there's no trains, because I would have understood what "How's your father?" meant. Nobody understands what an operational incident is. So the Plain English Campaign would have no problem whatsoever with euphemisms.
Yeah, okay. But "How's your father?" that term came about as a phrase because originally only some people would understand it. It was only meant for a certain audience. And so the context of "How's your father?" was when a Victorian gentleman and Victorian lady were being introduced to each other. Quite often, Victorian parents would accompany their young daughters around so as they couldn't hang out with any gadabout young men. And so a typical greeting from a a man who had the hots for a lady, he would say to her, "How's your father?" And that would give her the opportunity to say, "Oh, he's just over here. Why don't you say hello?" Or if he wasn't there, she was able to go, "Oh, I will pass my greetings on to him when I am home." That was the signal that he wasn't there. So only some people would get that reference, and then a bit of nookie might take place. So an operational failure, similarly, although less hornily, is basically an opportunity maybe for someone in the rail industry to say to someone else in the rail industry, "Here's a bit of a thing. Mind what you do. Mind what I say." Maybe that's what it's all about.
First of all, I think we've all just been mildly informed. That's what this podcast tries to do about the origins of How's Your Father.
I never thought we'd end up there today, but yeah.
but on a train company website, if that line is not working, tell us why, rather than some kind of like, some people might know what this means.
Oi, oi.
So, clean spoken English. That's what we need. And too many people aren't doing it. So I'm going to give the English language badly used a 1-star review.
Fair enough. TFL, if you've got a genuine reason why you had to use that terminology, maybe we could review that.
What are they hiding, Chris? What are they hiding?
Come on, sheeple.
Yeah, how's your father on the platforms? What else is on your mind this week?
I've actually got another slightly moany thing I want to talk about. Sorry, it's one of those weeks. But this is important. This is important to share. And I have to admit, it's partly promotional to another podcast that I'm involved in. Rich, the Bugle podcast, the Bugle family of podcasts, released a book this year. It was so exciting. I helped a book happen. I helped a book that raised in pre-sales alone more than £45,000 happen.
That's incredible. You're now a published author.
Well, technically, Alice Fraser is the published author, but I did everything I could to make it happen. You know, I was the man.
Are you like Penguin Publishing then?
I brokered the deal between us and a publishing firm.
Not Penguin.
Rich, it wasn't Penguin. They were called. I'll name them now. They were called Unbound.
Okay.
And they told us everything was fine. And about a month after the book came out, they went into liquidation. And us and all the other authors who had books out at the time lost between us nearly £750,000.
Oh my God.
It was quite a thing. And we've been on a journey. We're still on a journey through liquidation now, and it's been quite sore. And Alice and I released on one of the Bugle podcasts a show called Realms Unknown. We released this week the full story of it. So we really held our tongues whilst we tried to work out what was going on. We still don't have access to our books. Alice has gone and recorded an audiobook version of it now. So if people buy the audiobook, at least we'll get some money. But it has been publishing a book. I don't know about you. The idea, even if you're like a Hollywood star, a leading political figure, in some ways, I think a lot of people have thought, I haven't really made it. However famous I am, however good the quality of my work has been, I haven't really made it till I've had a book out. Having a book out, I think, is there. And so when we had not only a book out, but a book that sold thousands of copies, we're like, we've made it. We are the bee's knees. Am I allowed to say bee's knees? Is that plain speaking enough? And
I knew what you meant.
And this company pissed it all away on whatever they did, and it's been so frustrating. And but I'm pleased. I guess there were two things we could have done, which is we could have kept moaning about it, or just been really grumpy and really sad about it. But I am pleased that we basically have reclaimed our rights to the book. We've paid for a recording studio. Alice has given up a day of her time to go in the studio, read the entire book out loud. And then we've had it cut, edited, and now it's being released. So I think this is a kind of Phoenix from the Flame story. It's out this week. we're really pleased that we are like coming out fighting and are doing something good with it. So if anyone who listens to this show likes the idea of a series of stories that are frankly quite horny and are not necessarily always in quite plain speaking English, then get Alice's book. It's called A Passion for Passion, and it is. But get the audiobook. Get the audiobook because we still don't own. I don't know what's going on with the books. It's an absolute nightmare. So I would like to review the audiobook that we've gone to the effort to release this week, and I give it 5 stars.
Brilliant. And a well-deserved 5 stars, I'm sure it is. Would you also like to review Unbound?
I mean, like, I don't have the graphics package available to me to demonstrate how lowly I rate them.
But you don't have the you don't have the graphics, but you do have fingers. So why don't you review with your fingers how many stars you are giving Unbound clearly to the screen?
Okay, just to be clear, there are some people there who I have a lot of time for and a lot of respect for who also lost out in this. But and I think they'll understand this review. 1 star.
A very therapeutic one as well. And those graphics were very clear.
Thank you. I really enjoyed doing that. I should do that more often. Let's have a break.
And we're back. And Chris, there's one more thing that I want to tell you about before we part our ways for this week.
You must tell me. What is it?
I feel really let down by the Kit Kat Corporation.
Not Big Kit Kat.
I think you'll agree. As an adult, one of the most powerful things that you can say, or one of the most hurtful things or upsetting things that you can have said about you, is when you feel let down by somebody. Or when you feel that you've let someone down. And I feel let down by Kit Kat. I have been a staunch supporter, eater, consumer, buyer of Kit Kats over the years, whether it is in their 4-fingered form, the original, I would say. The
4-star chocolate bar.
Yeah, very much so. The 2-fingered form, and then your latter day chunky, your chunky duo, your king size. I've loved them all.
Peanut?
Yeah. Big fan of the peanut one. Big fan of the orange one. Big fan of the mint one. Big fan of the salted caramel one. Big fan of the white Kit Kat. I've tried them all. Every variant they've done, I've really enjoyed. And so when I was in the supermarket this week and I saw a 7-pack of the brand new Kit Kat gingerbread, I was excited. I thought, great, wonderful, a seasonal Kit Kat. Maybe it'll turn out to be really, really popular and it'll be on the shelves as much as you might be able to buy a mint or an orange one, which I'd say are probably the most popular of all of the Kit Kat variants away from the standard flavour. I can't tell you how rank the gingerbread Kit Kat is. This is going to be a very quick review, okay? And I know we're talking about the Nestlé Corporation here. I don't fear them, all right? I don't fear them. I've been overt enough to say how much I love every other single variant of Kit Kat that they do. No doubt I'd like other Nestlé chocolate bars as well. And I'm sure I've consumed a fair bit of Nescafe in my time as well. However, guys, the Kit Kat gingerbread is rank. It's absolutely disgusting, whether you eat it just on your own or whether you dunk it in a cup of tea, which is probably how I can consume 50%, 60% of my Kit Kats these days. Kit Kat gingerbread, so disappointing. And I love gingerbread. Oreo have got an Oreo gingerbread at the moment. That's really nice. Gingerbread on its own. Gingerbread spice in like a latte from Starbucks. Fantastic. Kit Kat gingerbread. Whoa. Don't know what you've done there, guys. But wow, it's not a hit.
Okay. I'm not ever going to try this because I trust your review, but can I ask some questions about it as a product?
Of course you can.
Is it a chunky or a 4-finger?
This was a 2-fingered. 2-fingered. So like that was one of the worst parts of it. I thought this was going to be really, really good. Emptied them all into the biscuit tin. I've tried one. It's vile. I've got 6 left.
Right. And where does the gingerbread flavouring come from? Is it in the chocolate? Is there a layer of something that's infused with gingerbread in it? Where does that...
Very good question. A very good question indeed. And that's actually probably made me think to myself, oh, well, at least I've actually got something to do with the other 6 now, because I couldn't tell you whether it comes, whether it's flavoured wafer or whether it is flavoured chocolate. But you know me well enough to know that I will now dissect that to tell you where the flavouring's actually from. However, you've hit a pertinent point. Because one of the things about it is I don't really think that, I think they've labelled it Kit Kat gingerbread, but I'd say it tastes more cinnamon. I'm not necessarily getting gingerbread as a flavour. I think they've tried to enter the Christmas market of Kit Kat, and they've shot wide spectacularly.
Oh, I'm disappointed. Kit Kat, this is a rare foul for you. Raise your game.
So it's a quick one.
So sad to hear.
It's a quick one because I don't have a solution for them. They're Nestle. They should have a solution themselves. They shouldn't even have put themselves in this position in the first place. But the Kit Kat gingerbread, it's another 1-star review from me, I'm afraid.
Wow. We are in a funky mood today, aren't we?
We really are. Will that funky mood continue with the Patreons? That is only for the Patreons to know and find out, and they're going to find out very, very shortly. If you're not a Patreon, you won't know. You'll never know, because we won't talk about it to you because you don't show that level of loyalty. But if you would like to become one of our patrons, you can by searching for us, Mildly Informed Pod, on Patreon. We are always ready to receive your emails, mildlyinformedpod@gmail.com, or your comments on our socials, at Producer Chris, at Richie Firth, or of course, leave your comments if you're watching us on our YouTube channel. We will see you next week when we'll be back to mildly inform you once again.